Welcome to Hanging Out with the Monkey, the official podcast of OddsMonkey, the number one match betting service in the world. Thanks for joining us again on the podcast, and we have a little treat today for our loyal listeners. If you haven't had a chance to try our OddsMonkey Premium yet, you can start making match betting profits with our exclusive offer. If you'd like to sign up using the offer code PODOFFER, that's PODOFFER at checkout, you can get a full 10 days OddsMonkey Premium for just £1. So please, everyone, give it a try. It's a little treat for all our podcast listeners. So joining me today, I'm delighted to announce we have a full house. We have Ricky and Steve from OddsMonkey.
Hiya.
Hello.
And Phil from Tricky Bet.
Hi.
Welcome back, guys. So we've got an action-packed episode this week. Just to mark the cards of the listeners, we're going to do a football special next week, which will cover the Champions League, Europa League, Nations League, and Women's World Cup. So don't worry if you think you've missed out today. Today's show, we're going to cover the French Open, the Derby, Cricket World Cup, Darts World Cup, and the playoffs. So plenty to talk about today. So let's start with the French Open. Tennis is a very good thing for match bettors, tends to be, and we've got all the tools on OddsMonkey to use and match bettors, the forums, etc. But let's get into the French Open, guys. Ricky, it's a little early now to visit some of the offers, but what can some of the members be looking forward to with the French?
Yeah, it is a little early, so nothing officially available yet, but going back off previous French Opens, we're probably looking at something around like a 2 sets up payout, or a lose first set, or win first set, lose the match type offers. So it's probably revolve around those, or losing 5 sets. That's what previously we've been looking at on the last French Open.
And Steve, anything you would ask people to look out for the tennis? Tennis matcher, obviously that's available on the site. Is that something they should be using during the next few weeks?
Yeah, it'll make life a lot easier. I mean, you can, in theory, go and use the odds matcher and set it up with filters to get the type of information, but the tennis matcher just makes life a lot easier because it's looking at specific offers for specific bookmakers with the parameters, the odds and everything all set for you. So when you see an offer that you're interested in, just go on there and you'll get the latest odds back and lay, telling you what your lay stake is, and yeah, hopefully then you manage to bag some winners along the way. But that's the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah, and obviously, Phil, as you always like to drill in whenever we talk about tennis, there are a few different rules on the tennis, aren't there? If you can go over those again for us.
Yes, so I mean, we've got the links on the tennis matcher page and stuff, but as we've said before, the rules don't match up with the exchange at all the bookies. So if there is a retirement, you could end up losing out, even if you have backed and laid, because the bookie and the exchange won't pay out for the retirement. So you could end up losing both your bets. So because of that, we suggest you check the rules list, and if your bookie and exchange don't match up, you have to Dutch your bets. It's a little bit more complicated, but once you get your head around it, it's pretty easy. You just place in a bet on the first tennis player at one bookmaker and the other tennis player at another bookmaker, and you can use the Dutch matcher that we have on OddsMonkey to help you do that. It just helps you negate any pitfalls from retirement rules. But you can check the list on the website.
Yeah, as we said, all the forum guides are there, and anything you need, the guys, Ricky and Steve, are all there for you to help. So let's take a quick look at the odds guys here for the men's side first. And the king of the clay, Rafa, massive favourite. He's evens. Even the top three, it's 20-1 bar the top three of Novak Djokovic, Dominic Thiem. So if you think someone else barring those three is going to win, you could be in the money. And Steve, you've got a strong liking for the fourth favourite, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I'm going to be having a little sort of punt on, if I pronounce this correctly, Tsitsipas, the Greek player.
It's easy for you to say, Steve.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I won't repeat it. He's only 20 years old, but he just got beat in the last clay tournament in the semi against Nadal, so no shame in that. And then in the previous sort of 2 clay tournaments, he's got to the final. So he's obviously comfortable on the surface, and he's already won a major, and he's looking like he's going to be the one to replace the old guard once they all start retiring. So I think at 20-1, I think he's a really, really good bet.
And Ricky, you like the look of him as well, don't you?
Yeah, purely the odds, 20-1. Yeah, very good clay form. Now, just reiterating what Steve just said, I think looking at the clay form, he's third rated out to the field. Only 20, decent form against Nadal. He's going to be there, young, unafraid, and give it a good go, I think. And I think 20 to 1's a bit overpriced.
And Phil, obviously Rafa, he's in at evens, but again, that's not, in some ways, that's not a bad price, is it?
No, it's pretty good considering, everybody expects him to win. But like you've said, there is a lot of value to be had on this market because obviously 4 players are going to get to the semi-finals, and outside the top 3, you can get 20 to 1, you can get 33 to 1 on Federer. So, I'm not saying these players are going to win, but you can back them and then trade out with these bets once they get that far, if they do get that far, for a little bit of profit. I'd probably go with, Zverev or Federer at 40s and 33s and trade out after a couple of rounds.
Yeah, I must admit, I agree with Phil. I think Federer and Zverev are the good prices, but as it was pre-show, Steve pointed out the odds on Nadal. It's not actually bad, is it? You can get 21 to 20 at Marathon. So if you think Nadal is going to win again, you can make the money. So as again, guys, with the tennis, there's plenty of offers going to come online. All the guides are on site, so please take a look and check them rules out. So from the tennis on to the Derby, Epsom Derby coming up. This is a really interesting race this year. Aidan O'Brien very much going for it. He could have up to 8 runners here. He's already got, I think, the three favourites at the minute. And Rick, the Derby, although it's the richest race in England, it's not really a match betting paradise, is it?
No, I don't think historically you've seen much difference in the offers that are available for the Derby. And not got the match betting appeal of the likes of Cheltenham, etc. So yeah, there'll be offers around, but there'll be nothing really specific targeting towards a Derby, I don't think.
No, I think, Steve, obviously we think there'll be extra places offered here, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing sort of offered at the moment, but with enough runners in the race, there's certainly going to be some extra places there. So it's worth keeping an eye on the daily offer calendar. Sort of come. Is it 1st of June that this race takes place? Good. Yeah, I got that right.
And obviously, as well, Phil, there's the issue of no runner, no bet. That's not available at the minute on the flat, but there is Sir Dragonet, the favourite, and Telecaster. Both haven't been supplemented, which means they haven't actually officially been entered, and they have to pay a penalty fee to get in the race. So, anti-post, the listeners need to be a little bit aware of that, don't they, before getting too excited?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anyone gets on the anti-post for this market because, like you say, you just don't know what's going to happen. I'm more interested in what colour hat the Queen's going to wear, to be honest. Where's the market for that?
Well, yeah, they'll be coming around. Does anyone have any fancies first? I think Telecaster's interesting. I might oppose Aidan O'Brien here, even though he's got 8 runners in the race. He really wants to win this again. Anyone have any big fancies, Ricky, Steve?
I would be opposing O'Brien as well, and the horse that I've picked out is a Kevin Prendergast horse called Mad Moon. I'm pretty sure it's going to stay. Some decent form behind it, and that'd be my each way bet of the race.
Yeah. Steve, anything pick out for you?
I was going to say Mad Moon. So just
you two need to stop copying each other all day.
so just to be different, I'll go for Surfman. Purely on the name. I've done no research into that horse. So there you go. Really scientific approach to that.
If I was only doing the name, I'd go Line of Duty because it's the best thing on TV. Phil, is anything jumping out to you?
I don't know any of these horses, to be honest. So probably just. Seems to be a geographical incentive. You've got Hiroshima, Norway, Japan, Bangkok. It means like someone's traveling the world rather than a horse race.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. Exactly. All right, so let's move on again from horse racing, change the speed a bit. Cricket World Cup. We've got 2 World Cups we're going to discuss in this podcast, cricket and darts, very different. But let's look at the Cricket World Cup first, being staged in England. England haven't got a great recent record here, but they are firm favourites to win it, which we'll get onto in a bit, whether we think that's good value or not. I suspect I know the answer. Guys, are we expecting much here? Rick, we've seen the odd cricket offer come in for match betting. Obviously, if this takes off, it's something to look out for, isn't it? We might get a few offers coming here.
Yeah, there's a couple slowly coming through. I think what was at the minute, William Hill have got an offer. If you back a £10 bet on a top batsman market, you get a £5 free bet for every century that player scores throughout the tournament. And another one we have so far is Genting Bet. I've got a bet £25 on a team to win the whole tournament on the 8 tournament winner, and for every match that they win, you get a £2 free bet. So they're trickling in. Hopefully, we'll get a few more as well before the off. But there's a couple there to go at already.
Yeah, and Steve, obviously these offers are on site, aren't they, for everyone to check out, and everything they need to know is available.
Yeah, again, make the daily offer calendar sort of your new best friend, and keep an eye on there. And you can, all the latest ones are generally sort of posted on the top, but you can filter it as much as you want, and narrow it down to sports and things like that. Or if you're looking for guaranteed profits, you can also narrow it down and see if anything jumps out at you. But the offer calendar is the place to keep on top of all that.
And obviously with this, Phil, we've seen some big winners in the past, like Sri Lanka at huge odds. England, very short odds in places, 15-8. I suspect I don't think many of us are going to be jumping on England here, Phil. Do you reckon there's some real value out there, especially Australia, the likes of them at 4-1. Would you be looking away from England?
Yeah, they always seem to let us down, even when they're big favourites, don't they? I mean, they are at home. They've got a good side at the moment, so it's maybe worth a bet, but it'd be more of a heart decision, I think, rather than a head decision.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the offers come in. I think Betfred are doing something as well, so it's worth keeping that in into the build up to this. Guys, let's have our picks in. I'll go. I think Australia are a decent price at 4-1. I'd go with them. Hand over to you, Phil. Who would you pick, Phil?
Yeah, Australia, I think, probably the best pick for me.
Steve, are you staying loyal?
I'll do a bit of a mix, I think. So I'll go for England to win and David Warner to be top batsman at 14-1, which seems like a decent price with the amount of runs he scored in the IPL recently.
Nice price. Yeah, they're coming. Those a few of their naughty boys are coming back into the fray, aren't they?
Without sandpaper. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been a bit underestimated. And Rick, England, I imagine, are way too short for you, Rick.
You imagine wrong, sir. I think we've got the best team, strength in depth throughout, 2-1. That's where my money's going, and an each way punt on the West Indies coming around 16-1.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. The West Indies have got a good pedigree here, aren't they? I must admit, the one I quite like, Jofra Archer, the Barbados player who's just turned to England. I think he'll be an interesting option here, even for best bowler, the most wickets. And you get 20-1 on him at the moment. So I must admit, I think I'll be looking at that. Guys, we've been very naughty here. We've missed out the women's French Open tennis. So let's take a quick hop back to Paris and get our picks for this. Rick, I know you're very good at picking out the ladies here, so I'll give you first pass. You've had some good recent records on the tennis, so who was your money on?
Well, that's probably going to stop now then. Let's have a look at the field.
Well, I'll kick it off. I think Kvitova, she's getting a lot of good press at the minute, and she's confident. I think at 12s. For the listeners, Simona Halep is firm favourite at 4-1, and Kiki Bertens is twice at 8-1. But again, barring the top two, it's almost 14-1 the field, so even more wide open than the men's in some ways. But yeah, I'd go Kvitova. So Rick, who are you looking at?
Again, looking at the clay form, Halep got the strongest form, but I think she can be a bit vulnerable this year. So further down in the odds list, I see Elina Svitolina. Probably best price 22-1. That's where it's going.
Steve, obviously again, the listeners have to be aware, don't they? Obviously the women don't play as long as the men do, they? So the offers do vary, don't they, for them?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the main offers that you're going to get for match betting on the tennis tends to come in the men's tournaments. There's not a lot around on the women's side of it, unfortunately, and yeah, that's mainly down to the 3-set versus 5-set difference. As for a pick, I'm just going to go for Serena. I doubt it, but just I think at the price with her pedigree, she's won it sort of 3 times before, and she's not really done much in the last few years, but she's still seeking that elusive extra major, isn't she? And maybe this is the time she gets it. Who knows?
Yeah. So the old ones are still around. A Serena Federer double, Phil. What do you reckon?
I don't think there's much chance of that, but then again, I didn't say there was much chance of the double that we had last time, and that came in. But yeah, I like Serena too. She doesn't tend to bother entering them unless she thinks she can win. So, she obviously thinks she can do it.
Very much the same with Federer, isn't it? So, right, that's great. So tennis all wrapped up. Cricket World Cup wrapped up, and that leads us on to the Darts World Cup. An intriguing competition. Obviously, the Premier League is just wrapping itself up, and then it comes on to World Cup start next month, which, for listeners who don't know, it's 2-man teams for every country, and they play a best of 11. It's really interesting. If you haven't watched, take a pick. It's really good. But you do get some high-class games with the likes of Van Gerwen and Wattemar. They'll be lined up for Holland as firm favourites at the minute. And there is a few offers out there, isn't there? Ricky, it's an interesting competition, this one, and it does generate a lot of interest. And there's already a few offers out there, isn't there?
Not that I've seen at the minute. Not that's available specifically for the World Cup. I mean, there's a few kicking around still for the Premier League, which finishes off tonight. But I've not seen anything available yet for the World Cup, unfortunately.
All right, but we will be expecting some. Yeah, Phil, we'll be expecting some to come through on this, especially Bet Victor as the sponsors. They might be pushing something at some point.
Yeah, there will be. I mean, there's been quite a lot on the Premier League. I mean, I'm just looking at the offers that are on the Premier League for today, and there's like nearly 10 offers. So you would think for the World Cup there would just be even more.
And Steve, we've obviously seen match betting offers on darts in the past where if someone goes so many legs up, and that does present itself as a possibility for this one, doesn't it? For someone to look out for.
Yeah, hopefully, as the guys have said, there'll be something coming through materialising over the next couple of days. Some of the sort of current offers could be transferred over once the Premier League finishes.
Yeah, like you've got the checkout stuff, haven't we?
Like double winnings, things like that. If they win by 100, checkout and refunds if there's other checkouts, etc. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll start throwing out the offers. But we'll be keeping an eye on Bet Victor as well.
Yeah, obviously, in this tournament, England and Netherlands, no one's won this event other than them two. A very strong England team this year with Cross and Smith. They'd be getting my vote. You get 3-1 on them at the moment. Throw it over to you, Steve. Who would do you think anyone other than Netherlands or England could win this?
No, not really. I mean, Scotland are strong, but yeah, I mean, I think I'll plump for England again, and I'll go for an England cricket and darts World Cup double.
Oh, nice. We like that. Phil, again, same question. Other than it's hard to see past the top two, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You're struggling to look past them too, really. I can't say any more than that. I don't really know enough about it, to be honest. But yeah, looking at what happens in the Premier League, those countries are dominating that. So you'd expect that to carry over into the World Cup.
Well, Ricky, I know you've got a little dark horse fans here, and I think it's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, so I still think England have got the strongest pairing, and then any team with Van Gerwen is difficult to ignore. But Belgium, you've got Kim Huybrechts and Dimitri van den Berg, who are reached semi-finals in 2018, and have a decent shout at best price, called 25-1. So yeah, that'd be my kind of dark horse each-way pick.
Interesting. Definitely want to keep an eye on that. Excellent pick there, Rick, I think. And so let's round off today with some football. We're not saving everything for next week. We have the playoffs this weekend, including the richest game in the world, which is the Championship playoff final. And Steve, it's a last chance, really, isn't it? One of the last chances to take advantage of the 2-up, the golden egg of match betting at the moment. And we were talking before the show, obviously. A little warning: don't get into this too early, isn't it? Although you could do it today, try and wait for the day of the game. Is the advice going out?
Yeah, I mean, when I do plenty of 2-up bets each week. Generally, probably about 30 to 40 when the season's in sort of full swing. And I tend to wait until the day of the game before I start placing any bets. I don't like to mark myself out as being a bit too shrewd with it all by doing it days in advance. So if you can hang fire, if you've got a spare few minutes to look at the odds on the day of the game, use the odds match, use the 2-up filter to see what pops out. I'd advise sort of leaving it, up until then. But yeah, this weekend, the round of playoff games, we've got the Champions League final, and that will probably be the bookend of the 2-up for this season, unless they treat us all to something, on the Women's World Cup and Nations League. But don't hold your breath on that one.
And Rick, do you echo that? Is that the sort of thing you like to do as well, Rick? Wait until the day of the game?
Yeah, you got to try it. Do your best, or as best you can, as staying under the radar, and by betting on, most people will bet the day of the game, the day of the race, or so. So yeah, the more you can do to help that is ideal. So yeah, if the day of the game, keep the software open, get the alert set up for the close matches, and get on the day.
You sort of like it's like hiding the crowd, Phil, isn't it? You can all the bets there. It's easier to go undetected, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing like Steve, you're doing 30 or 40 bets per week, you are going to stick out a little bit. But if you try and look like a mug punter as much as you can, then it's obviously going to help the long-term life of your account.
And with that, Steve, obviously, we mentioned on the previous show about where you were very unlucky missing out on Tottenham and Ajax. Will you go into this looking to try and cover both angles off on each game, or is it purely dependent on the odds, isn't it?
Yeah, purely odds driven. If the odds aren't there, the percentages aren't there, then I won't be having a bet. If the odds are within range, then I'll be sort of getting involved. I mean, when I set up the odds matcher, I'd say generally as a rule of thumb, if you've got your match rating set to a minimum of 97%, you're sort of working within a safe parameter there. So if any of them fall below it, then they won't be involved, and that'll probably be Paddy Power, because Bet365 odds tend to be better on this offer. And
that's the thing, isn't it, Rick, as well with these? We've only, as Steve alluded to there, we're probably coming towards the end of the season for this. It's don't try and overstretch yourself as well, even though it's the last few games. If it's not there to be had, don't try and chase it.
Exactly the case. It's not just the 2-up offer; it's with any kind of potential profit offer as well. Don't go taking stupid qualifying losses and losing far too much on the potential chance of hitting a free bet. Stick to within a low qualifying loss, whatever you're comfortable with, and then it's just say stick with it. If it's below, don't get involved. If it hits it, get involved. It's purely a maths swing.
Cool. So let's have a quick look at these three games. Let's each have a dive in. Newport Tranmere is on the Saturday, if my memory serves me correct. It's this one probably, Phil, this looks the closest call of all three. These two teams finished 6th and 7th. It was a surprise to see either of them in the final. It's a real toss of a coin job, this, isn't it, really?
It is, yeah. But from what I've seen of Tranmere, I quite fancy them, actually. They look like a really organised team, and they've come into it with form and stuff. So for me, Tranmere look a decent pick. But like you say, it's so close, it's hard to say.
Steve, who are you fancying in the League Two?
I'm going for Newport County, based purely on the basis that earlier in the season they played Man City in the League Cup and kept it to 0-0 at half-time. So they're obviously well marshalled at the back, and maybe that'll see them through.
Well, yeah, they also beat my Middlesbrough team, but that doesn't make them a good team by any stretch of imagination. So, but I do agree. I think Newport. I think that shows they do like to play on the big occasions. They're not. Was it Spurs they beat last year? I took them to a replay, and Leicester as well. So Newport like the big occasion. And Rick, would you be going for Newport, or would you be going for your fellow Scousers in Tranmere?
I'll be sticking with the fellow Scousers and sticking with Phil and going with Tranmere.
Oh, we're two for two there. Oh, Steve and Ricky going against each other for the first time. On to League One, right? Well, there's only one place to start with Phil here. I think the whole bank holiday is going to be determined by this game, the Mickey Gray derby. Obviously, as we remember, the last time these two teams met, Mickey Gray missed penalty decided it with Charlton going up. We'd love to see it as a neutral. Sort of. We'd love to see another game like that again. Phil, you're very rarely confident. Are you confident going into this one?
No, not really. It's over 20 years since the Mickey Gray final, believe it or not, but it still hurts. So yeah, I always expect them to get beat, but they surprised me in the semi-final and look decent. So they are the favourites. Hopefully they can do it.
Yeah, I said Sunderland 17 to 10, 2-1. I do think Charlton are a good price here. I really do. Rick, are you staying loyal to Phil, or do you think Lee Boy will get his Charlton team up?
I'm going to abandon Phil on this one, I'm afraid. I think Charlton are a good price as well at 2-1 in the 90 minutes to get the win.
And Steve, surely you're not going to abandon Phil as well.
Sorry about that. I'm not going to abandon Phil. Sorry about that. Yeah.
I thought it was Phil chatting Phil about his badge in there.
Yeah, no, I think he's trying to break in. No, I'm going to go with Sunderland purely for the basis that I believe they're doing a second series of that Sunderland Till I Died documentary on Netflix, and the one that I watched last season was entertaining but quite depressing.
I particularly enjoyed the finish of that one. I thought it was
so I'm thinking there might be some Netflix influence, and it might end up like some sort of Hollywood ending that they get promoted. So then it'll all like tie in nicely, and that'll be the end of the series. So on that basis, yeah, something's going on behind the scenes, and they'll get promoted.
Right. Well, we're 2 for 2 on that one. So to the big one, the richest game in the world, worth £100 million to the team who goes up. Two big teams here. Frank Lampard's Derby, who overcame Leeds brilliantly in the semi-final to get here, against Aston Villa, who are the form team of the division. For me, I'm slightly biased. My good friend Albert Adoma's playing this game, so I want Albert to go through and I want Villa to go up. And I think for my own Middlesbrough sake, I'd rather Villa go up as well. Steve, give you first call here. This has extra. I don't know about you. I think this has extra time written all over it.
Yeah, score draw. I have no idea. You could toss a coin for this one for me. I think I know Villa are sort of strong favourites. Well, they're not quite odds on, but they're certainly good favourites for it. But as Derby showed at Leeds, they're never quite out of it. They've got resilience to come back. I think extra time, possibly penalties, and a bit of drama, like the good old playoff finals we used to get.
Yeah, definitely. And Rick, who do you think's Premier League bound?
I'd like to say Derby, purely from a Harry Wilson point of view. If he was to get promoted with Derby, stay there for another season and see what he can do in the Premier League. But I'm going with Villa. 7-0 over the 2 games in the Championship earlier this home and away. Villa good form coming into it as well. So Villa will be taking my money.
And Phil, do you think it's going to be a happy end to the season for Frank Lampard, or do you think it's one game too far?
I don't know. He's lucky enough to win it, but no, I think Villa are definitely the form team. They look decent. Derby has struggled at times. They only just creeped into the playoffs. So yeah, I'll go for Aston Villa.
Great. Well, and obviously we remind all the listeners, we will be back next week with a football special covering the Champions League, Europa League, all English finals in the 2 of them, which is great for English football. And we'll be covering the Nations League and the Women's World Cup as well. So plenty of football to talk about. And just a quick reminder again, we've got that exclusive offer again for our podcast listeners. You can sign up now using the offer code PODOFFER, PODOFFER, which allows you to try OddsMonkey Premium for a full 10 days at just £1. So please give it a try. You can see all the bits and pieces, all the offers, the guides, all the guys who are around to help you, like Ricky and Steve. So please give it a try. And we will join you next week for our football podcast special. So thanks for joining us, and we'll speak soon.